Hi everyone, it's Lynnea back with another video for Kindred Stamps. This time I'm working with the Bloom stamp set, and this is from the March release. It's full of gorgeous this floral arrangement. There's a little girl and a little boy, and then a bunch of sentiments that are perfect for any occasion card as well as for Mother's Day. And I'm going to be making a card for my mom today. My son loves to go to their house and plant flowers, so I just thought this was perfect. So I started by masking off a 1/2 inch at the bottom of a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock because I wanted to mask off that bottom line from this little floral arrangement so that I could have a long line of flowers going across to make like a little garden of flowers. So I stamped that the first time. I cut out a mask from a Post-it note, and I'm just using that to mask off my flowers. And I'm stamping on, like I said, Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm using Gina K Amalgam ink. I wanted an ink that was safe for alcohol marker coloring as well as for watercoloring because I'm going to be mixing my coloring mediums today. So I masked off my image, and then I'm just going to move my cardstock left and right so that I can get this whole line of flowers. And there were parts where I didn't get that bottom line completely masked off. So I ended up taking a black pen and drawing like some roots. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I had just left it because I'm going to use some dark green for the grass at the bottom. And I wish I had just used a sand eraser to erase those lines. And instead I extended them to make roots. What are you going to do? I ended up coloring the whole thing, and that's when I decided I didn't like it. And I wasn't going to scrap this. I put so much time and effort into it that I'm just going to make it work. So I have a mix of Copic markers as well as Spectrum Noir alcohol markers, and I gave you a quick glimpse at them, and I will have a still photo of those markers on my blog and so that you can see the markers that I'm using. Just really quick 2 marker color blending, a dark and a light shade, adding some of the dark shade first where I think the shadow should be, and then blending it out with the light. So here we go for the grass, using some JG1. This is a Spectrum Noir marker, and I'm just putting down just some color all over. And then I'm going to come in with the DG4, which is actually the same color that I used for the leaves for the shadows, and just doing some flicking to kind of create shadows from the flowers and such. I used very few colors here. I'm trying to simplify my coloring because when I color, I tend to overcomplicate it, and then my image just looks cluttered almost. So I really kept this to just a few colors that I thought would go together. And there's my little panel. I'm also going to color this little boy, and he's going to represent my son. My son is 3, and like I said, he loves to garden and to plant flowers. My son is blonde, so I tried to color a little blonde boy here, and I struggle with hair. I really do. It never turns out right. And I ended up going over this with some brown tones because I just, like you can see here, that's not the right color. It's super bright yellow. And I tried to fix it, and I tried to fix it, and it didn't work. So I ended up just coming in with some brown. And so that's what you're going to see in my finished image. I really fussed with this hair for a long time. So I kept the coloring short and simple here. Just gave him a little gray hoodie and some blue jeans. I don't think I kept a lot of the coloring in here because it really is super simple and you can easily recreate it. So here is where I'm going to mix my coloring mediums because I wanted to have blue in the background, but I'm not good with coloring with Copics on a large scale like how that whole top portion of my card would be. I'm much more comfortable with watercolor. So that's why I used the amalgam ink because it is safe for Copic coloring as well as for watercoloring, and that's why I use Bristol cardstock as well because it can take on a little bit of water, more water than what regular cardstock could take, and still have the alcohol marker coloring. So I squished down some Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just using my water brush to pick it up and just color in these little areas on the bottom. And then when I get around to the top, I'm going to switch over to a bigger brush. Now, before I did that, I stopped and I stamped my sentiment because I didn't know how it was going to stamp on top of the oxide ink. I figured it would be okay, but I figured I might as well just stamp it first to be safe. I adhered my card flat onto a card base, but I popped up the little boy with some foam tape, and I love how he looks like he's in the middle of a flowery garden planting some more flowers. I added some clear Spectrum Noir Sparkle shimmer pen to the areas of the little boy as well as to the flowers. And that is it for this card. I hope you loved it, and you can find still photos over on my blog. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.